Welcome back to the Map for College learning community. My name is Ernest Manelli, founder of My Action Plan for College. And this video is specifically geared toward reading comprehension, clues, and strategies that you can use on test day and as you practice to get ready for test day so that you may impose what I call filtration systems on certain questions. Because whether it's the College Board for the SAT or whether it's the ACT program for their ACT test, there are certain trigger words and certain linguistic clues within the question dynamic that can lead you toward a specific understanding of what you're being asked to do as a test taker. So I'll give you some examples. Whether it's the SAT or the ACT, each standardized test will impose some form of a hierarchy of language. Now that's my term. What I mean by that is that there are certain questions that contain superlative language, whether it's a superlative adjective or whether it's a superlative adverb phrase or an adjective phrase. There's some form of a superlative. So good would be standard, better would be comparative between two things, and best would symbolize superlative. Superlative really means that you have the best quality among, or the most strident quality in whatever feature it is, because again, superlative could be least as well. So it doesn't necessarily have to be trending positive. It could be trending toward an element of scarcity. But be that as it may, superlative language such as best, most, mainly, least, primarily, most likely, least likely, when you have these phrases, you as a test taker understand that the quality of the answer choices is going to be that much more competitive. And one of the reasons that students, year after year, some students will say, well, I really thought that question, I really thought I was on the right track. And I will say to the student, you were very likely on the right track, and if this were a student-led discussion in the classroom, your answer choice would have merit because it would be among the best choices, but not necessarily the best according to the way College Board writes the test question or the ACT group writes their test questions. So when you see a superlative language phrase, a hierarchy, most likely, most nearly, least, most, best, that means that there's going to be a more competitive answer structure. And you might need to take a little bit longer, maybe go like on the SAT, aim to go from 4 answer choices on the first round down to 2, and then from 2 down to 1. So try not to go from 4 to 1 directly, unless the answer is obvious. And on the ACT, because there are 5 answer options on reading comprehension, try not to go on a hierarchy question from 5 straight down to 1, again, unless it's obvious. Try to filter it down from 4 to 2 and then 2 to 1. Make it like a playoff series. And on the ACT, try to filter it down from 5 to 2 and then from 2 to 1. Again, it might take you an extra 7 to 15 seconds, depending on the complexity of the question, but it's going to be time well spent. So hierarchy of language is very important because if you notice, a high percentage of questions on the reading comprehension standardized testing have to do with the incorporation of superlative language hierarchy. Another filtration system would be macro versus micro questions. And this one is pretty obvious. If a question asks for a main idea, the corresponding answer is going to have to be a main idea. So what standardized testing agencies will do oftentimes, the standardized testing agency will ask a big picture, macro, main idea, author's purpose, thematic question, and then within the answer choices there will be a very important detail that is crucial to the passage, but it may not be a macro idea. So if they're asking for macro, they want a macro answer. Correspondingly, if the test question asks for a micro answer, a specific detail, a specific line reference, a specific portion of the passage, then even if one of the answer choices is a macro theme that touches upon that detail, if the question's asking for a detail, it's going to ask for a detailed answer. So the only exception to this that I've seen periodically is that you will see a macro within a micro form. And what I mean by that, just the other day I was looking at a test question with the student, and it said the main purpose of paragraph 4. So again, main purpose, big idea, macro, but it was within a micro section of the passage. So you would still look big picture, but you would look big picture within a very small slice of the passage, just what they give you. So macro versus micro. And on reading comprehension for the SAT and the ACT, that's one of the filters you can impose just to know that you need to match up the category of question with the category of answer. And then there's evidence-based verbs versus context-based verbs. Evidence-based verbs tend to be more direct in nature. Supports, exhibits, illustrates, defends, states, things of that nature. And those evidence-based verbs tend to come with the hierarchy. Best supports, most clearly indicates, things like that. Those are a little bit more direct. In some ways, you can trust your gut instinct while you're doing the process of elimination, because the answers will be more obvious based on, even if you go back to a portion of the text, you will be able to find the answer choices to evidence-based questions a little bit more quickly and with less complexity. Context-based verbs, on the other hand, take a little bit more time. So, for example, infer, imply, suggest. It can most reasonably be inferred. I saw that phrase on a recent test question, practice test question. On the context-based questions, you will definitely need to take in a little bit more of a chunk of the text from the passage. You'll need to go back to the passage as you would with an evidence-based question, and you'll have to look for some linguistic clues within a broader section. Maybe instead of a few lines, maybe you're looking at an entire paragraph that you're reviewing just quickly to see which answer choice would correspond. So filtration systems include hierarchy of language with superlative adjectives and adverb phrases, macro versus micro questions, and evidence-based verbs compared with context-based verbs. So we will continue the journey of test preparation and general knowledge-based foundation growth. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Have a wonderful day.